one of the breakout rooms for ELA, science, or Texas history, right? If you plan to stay in the main room with me, we will go over questions from TFAR from last week. And I'm going to also share the link to the Nearpod so you can practice along with me. Definitely, you cannot go into online school to get to those questions. So joining Nearpod is actually going to make it more useful. So I'm going to put in the detail TFAR, say math, TFAR 9, 29, 20, 23. Here it is. Go ahead and join. And I am going to be sharing my screen. Click the link and join Nearpod. Most of you guys did better on this TFAR than the previous one. Lily, I haven't checked emails yet. Remember, Miss Said is teaching back on back since 9 a.m. all the way till now. So I'm going to check emails after this session. Then I'm not teaching live sessions and I can check emails and respond back to you guys. Right? Yeah. Okay. This is Math TFAR assessment from last week. That is September 29th. Let's get started. Question 1. Question 1. A family makes homemade pickles. They pack the pickles at a rate of 80 pickles per jar. That is important. They pack the pickles at a rate of 80 pickles per 5 jars. Yes, Stephen, this is a optional session. We go over some math stuff that will be helpful to you and bring your math grade up. If you are new, you can explore things out and hop from room to room to see what other teachers are doing and which group will be more useful to you, right? And you will join accordingly. So which answer best represents packing Y pickles and X jars at that rate? Step 1, let's talk about the rate they gave you. They did not give you a unit rate, right? If they say that, let's see, 5 jars had 80 pickles, they did not give you a unit rate. And you figure out the unit rate. For 1 jar, how many pickles? Can you figure out the unit rate? They said that there were 80 pickles, right, per 5 jars. That is not the unit rate for each. So you can figure out for 1 jar. Does anybody know how you will figure out the unit rate in this case? Joycelyn, excellent. Absolutely correct. You will do 80 divided by 5. And that will tell you that 16 pickles are there per jar, right? There are going to be 16 pickles per jar. If the unit rate is 16 pickles, right? How will you express that as an equation? Then you can express that as an equation. You will say, okay, then Y, the total number of pickles, equals 16 times the number of jars. 16 times the number of jars, or 16x. That is how you can express that as an equation. So I can say that this equation looks correct. There were 2 right answers, so we got 1 of the right answers here in the equation. Stephen, very good. Excellent. Joycelyn, very good with the equation. Excellent. There's one more correct answer. So we know that this one is not right equation because we already figured out the right equation. Look at the table, look at the graphs. Let's look at this graph. I'm going to use a red pen so we can, analyze it. So 1 jar will have 16 pickles. So 1 jar One jar should have 16 pickles somewhere here, right? But this is not what the graph is saying. Let's look at the next graph. So 1, it goes up to almost 16, right? And for 5, notice that it goes all the way up to 80. So we can say this is correct. And then we can also look at the table chart, right? Does this look correct? If you multiply 6 times 16, does it give you 160? No, that is incorrect, right? So the table doesn't look right also. Any questions? These were the two right answers, y equals 16x and then the graph. Here for 5 jars, there were 80 pickles. Let's go ahead and move on and look at question 2. Question 2, there's a scenario. Miss Ibrahim traveled a total of 150 miles for work in 5 days. Again, notice unit rate is not given, but they tell you that in 5 days, she travels 150 miles. Now we gotta do some interpretation on our own. Can you figure out for 1 day the unit rate? Can you figure out for 1 day? Right? Over 5 days? If she travels 150 miles, definitely we'll do 150 divided by 5. And that will tell you in over 1 day how much does she travel. Figure that out. Let's see what you guys want to tell me. Then over 1 day, she travels 30 miles. Yes, she travels 30 miles. This is the unit rate. Right? Then you can figure out for more. You can figure out for 2 days. Right? 30 2 times. You can figure out for 3 days. Right? 30 3 times, and so on and so forth. Right? So let's figure it out. Which points on this nearpod, in fact, be precise, which three dots on this graph represent the scenario? 3 dots you gotta pick. Very good, Aliza. Very good. Join Nearpod so you can show me your work. In Nearpod, I see Rudy, Mia, Caitlin, Joycelyn, Janice, Gia, and Angel. But what about the others who are telling me all these nice good answers? Click the link and get into this lesson so you can actually work it out. The Nearpod, just join using your first and last name or first and last initial, first name, last initial, and so I can see your work. Which dots represent the scenario? Right? Number 1, it is important to notice that in 0 days, she will travel 0, right? 0 can go for 0. Over 1 day, she can travel 30. 2 days, it could be 60, but there's no dot on 60. 3 days, she travels 90. There's no dot. 4 days, she travels 120. That works, right? These are the 3 correct dots. How do you know this is the right answer? If you will create a line through the dots, it should be a straight line. If you can create a straight line through the dots, very likely your answer is correct. So I'm going to go add over here because it also is talking about 4. So we can also add 4 days. How do you do for 4 days? You'll just do 30 4 times. And that is 120 miles. We should know for 1 day it was 30. We knew that. And for 0 days, we should also know 0 days means no time has elapsed. She didn't go any miles. Right? Make sense? Any questions? Yeah, Stephen, I see you in Nearpod. Does it make sense? Are there any questions? Let's also look at the equation. How will the equation look like for this case? So you know that in one day she can travel 30 miles. If you want to express that in the equation, y equals, how will you express that? Or if you want to label this graph using the equation, how will you express that? Give it a try. Y equals 30x. Excellent, Jocelyn. Very good, very good. Y equals 30x is going to be the rule that follows, because to find for number of days x, you will multiply it by 30. So the rule is y equals 30x. It's always a good practice to label your graphs using equation. Mathematicians do that all the time. If anybody cannot read a point on your graph, they will use the equation to figure that missing point out. No problem, Uriah. Welcome to class. Let's look at question 3. A shopper pays $3.95 for 5 pounds of potatoes. What is the price per pound for the potatoes? This is a division question, right? You want to find for 1 pound. Everybody get started? Solve the question. So we know for 5 pounds, the cost is $3.95. You want to find for 1 pound. You will divide $3.95 divided by 5. Work it out and show me how much do you get. If you guys need help setting up the division, I can also teach you that part. So I will put 3.95 and set up the division that will look something like this. You've got to divide by 5. Remember, you will also line up your decimal. So the decimal goes right over here, lined up. Line up your decimal. And then forget about the decimal and solve like normal, right? This is where the decimal goes. Work it out. Very good, Aliza. Excellent, excellent, excellent. If you didn't get the chance to see me in class, in my math class, you will get a chance to see me tomorrow, right? We follow a block schedule. So I'm talking to the new students. I do see some new students participate in open office, so we'll see one another in live class tomorrow. So let's go ahead and put in the answer. You guys want to say that you got 79 cents when you divided. Yes, that is true. So the correct answer is going to be answer choice B. Any questions? No? Okay. Let's look at question 4. And there were actually 9 questions in all. There was also extra credit embedded in it because there were certain questions that were worth more than a point. It was maybe 2 points. So some of you even earned extra. Imani compared the number of fluid ounces per bottle of sunscreen to the cost of 4 different brands of sunscreens. The information she gathered is shown in the table. Brand W, you can get 20 ounces for $12. Brand X, you can get 15 ounces for $11.25. For brand Y, you can get 10 ounces for $6.50. For brand Z, you can get 5 ounces for $2.50. Right? Very good. You guys even remember the answers. That is super good. Ethan, I received your message. Feel free to email me anytime. And I'm also, from my end, I was also concerned, was hoping to hear. I received your message. Definitely, we'll do something about it. Um, in this case, you want to figure out which brand of sunscreen had the greatest cost per fluid ounce, right? And you guys even remember the answer. That is good. But we will still look at how we can figure it out. For brand W, right? What you could have done, you do $12 divided by 20 will give you the cost per ounce. Everybody figure it out and we will talk about it. Then brand X, the cost is $11.25 divided by number of ounces. Ounces is 15. Tell me the cost per ounce. Everybody work it out. Then brand Y, cost is $6.50 and you can get 10 ounces. You will divide and figure it out. Right? And then brand Z, the total cost is $2.50 and you can get 5 ounces. Work it out, everybody, for each and every brand, and we will go ahead write down this cost so we can answer it correctly. So W costs 60 cents. Huri, I'm going to remind you, for money, use 2 decimals. Otherwise, remember, the online quizzes sometimes also marks it wrong. What about brand X? 11.25 divided by 5. 75 cents. Brand Y was easy because if you divide it by 10, you just move 1 decimal place to the left, 65 cents. Right? Brand Y was easy. And then brand Z, if you can think about it in your head, you'll also find that easy because 250 over 5 is just like a half, 0.50. Yeah, very good, Jason. So you are trying to find in this question the sunscreen that has the greatest cost. Greatest means most expensive. You'll realize that per ounce, X is more expensive per ounce. So all the mathematicians, when they go out, person like me also, when we go out and buy stuff, there is a shampoo bottle that is smaller, another shampoo bottle that is more bigger. We look at the prices. In my mind, I am doing this all the time. I'm trying to figure out, what is the cost per ounce? Am I gonna buy cheaper ounce over here in this bottle or that other bottle? So yeah, when you go out to stores, and you really want to be mindful of the prices, you definitely are comparing the price per ounce. Sometimes buying in bigger quantities gets you a little less cost. AJ, welcome to class. Jasmine, welcome to class. Jasmine, sign in using your student account. This is not a student account. If you need help, make sure you email your teacher so we can guide you. Angel, that was very fast. But I say reconsider, Angel, for this question. Our worker used 450 inches of steel wire to make 300 springs. At this rate, how many inches of steel wire are needed to make 1 spring, right? To make 300 springs, they are using 450 inches of wire, right? So in order to make 1 spring, think about what will you do to find for 1 spring. It is also called unit rate. What operation will you help you find for 1 spring? Oh yeah, I got a different answer for this one. So far, 2 of you have answered the question in a different way than what I got. Okay, so what you can do is simply, 450 inches of wire is needed for 300. So if you can divide that by 300, you can split the 450 into 300 springs. You will know how much is needed for each spring. Right? And this is also the same as 45 over 30. Right? And if you continue to simplify it, 45 over 30 simplified by 15 is 3 over 2. Or 3/2 is the same as 1.5, or 1.5. Yes, D was the right answer in this case. The numbers they gave you were compatible. The numbers they gave you were compatible. They were going by 15ths. Did anybody have other questions pertaining to this one? Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. Here in question 6, the ratio, and I told you guys in class there will be a question that will look like this. And I'm going to say, okay, the ratio of the number of almonds to the number of raisins, right? And let's see. And they tell you that the ratio is 4 to 3. See? Almonds are first, raisins next. So almonds to raisins, the ratio is 4:3. So if there are 600 almonds, how many raisins are there in that bag of trail mix? So this is that question mark part that you're trying to find. Good, Rory, I agree to you. Right? If you want to use cross product, you can do that. Otherwise, this was also quite simple from 4 to 600. Right? You are multiplying by 150. So to get to the missing number, you could be doing the same operation. 3 times 150. And that will give you the answer. And you know that raisins are less. So 800 was a totally wrong answer. But 450 was the right answer. They were tricky answers. 150 is the scale factor. 300 is just like another random answer. Right? Let's go ahead and look at question 7. A recycling bin contained 40 pounds of plastic in October and 50 pounds of plastic in November. Well, important things to note if you want to find percent increase or decrease, right? I'm going to remind you. You want to find how much was the change, right? How much change happened over original. Original is before the change happened, right? And then you can set it up as a percent. So I'm going to show you what I mean to say over here. This is how you can figure out percent of change. So a recycling bin contained 40 pounds in October. 40 is your original amount, right? And how much change happened, or how much was the increase? Nina, let's see. And the increase is from 40 to 50. There's an increase of 10, right? So the change was 10. The change was 10. Right? And so 10 over 40 is the same as a quarter, right? Quarter is the same as a quarter in terms of money, 0.25. Then select which percent looks correct for a quarter. This one you could just do mental math for percents, right? And a quarter is 25 cents, and 25%, 25 hundredths, 25%. With little to no calculations, just knowing about quarters. Was not 10%, right? It's 25%. Let's go ahead and look at the next question. Question 8. A jar contains red, green and blue marbles. The table shows the percentage of each color of marbles. The jar contains 90 blue marbles. So there are 90 blue marbles. Can you work your way out to figure out for other numbers? Then how many are green? If there are 90 blue, can you figure out for green? 60% is 90, right? 30% is green. Half are green. How much is half of 90? 45, right? Then green are going to be 45. Then 10% are red. Can you figure out how many are red? Do you guys understand how I figured out for green to be 45? Because from 60 to 30, you see it is half the amount. From 60% to 30%. So that's why I just divided by 2. And I got 45 will be green. Anybody confused? Let me know. Right? Then 10%. If you see, look at from 60% to and the red. So if blue is 60%, then you can find out red. Red is just 10%. To figure out for red, you could do 90 divided by 6. You could have done 90 divided by 6. It will just tell you how many are red. Because it is just 10%. It is 6 times less. So you'll figure out how many are red, and you'll figure out 90 divided by 6 gives you 15 are red. Does that make sense to you guys? Or do you want other ways so you understand? Yeah, Huria, I agree to you. Right? So we can say if you add these up, the total number of marbles is 150. That is true. Total marbles are going to be 150. And that there are going to be 15 red marbles and 45 green marbles. There are so many other ways you could do it, but this is one of the so many different ways. Last question, that is question 9. If you think you want to slow me down, make sure you do, because the purpose of the session is to answer your questions. The price of a sweater reduced from 20 to 12. Let's get started. What is the original price? Before the decrease happened, the original price is 20. So 20 goes in the denominator. How much price went down? From 20 to 12, how much did the decrease happen? The decrease is minus 8, right? Price went down 8. So 8 here in the numerator. Then you can change it to a percent. So 8 over 20 is the same as 4 over 10 if you half it, right? And if you are thinking about percent, that is 40%, because 40 out of 100. Does that make sense? Let me know. Anybody still wants me to go over any question? Feel free to let me know. These are just simply my way of doing it. Definitely you guys will have several other ways to do it. It doesn't matter what way we follow. You can follow the way that works best for you as long as you understand it. Joycelyn, Caitlin, Mia, Huria, Rudy, Nina. Very good. Aliza.
I am.
Everybody, we are back in the main room, teachers and students. Does anybody need extra time?
I'm good.
Nope.
All good in my room.
Yeah.
Me too.
Huria, can you go over 7? Absolutely, I can go over 7.
Okay.
Teachers, you are good to hop off.
Bye.
If your students have no
Bye.
other questions.
Bye. Bye bye. Peace.
I'm going to go over question 7 again. Question 7 was another percent change question. Huria, right? See how A recycling bin contained 40 pounds of plastic in October and 50 pounds of plastic in November. You see, the amount of plastic increased by 10, right, Huria? So the increase is 10. The original number in October before the change happened is 40. So 10 over 40. But Huria, 10 over 40 is same as a quarter, 1 over 4. Right, Huria? And a quarter is going to be 25 cents to 0.25 or 25%. Let me know if that makes sense. Right? It was a quarter. I'm not going to do math for a quarter. Quarter is supposed to be a benchmark number, right, students? Quarter for 7th grade is considered a benchmark number. We all need to know quarter is 0.25 or 25%. So I didn't happen to do much math here because of my mindset knowing quarter 25%. There we go. Huria, can I tell you why you got 20%? A little misunderstanding here could be if a person got a wrong answer like this one. When you did the change 10, you probably did it over a new amount, over 50. Huria, if you did that, you probably, yeah, that is when you will get 20%. It is 1/5. 1/5 is 20%. It is going to be 2 over 10, right? Or you can say 20 over 100. But remember here, this number is making your answer wrong. You're supposed to take the original amount in the denominator, original amount, before the change happened. Otherwise, you will not get the right answer. And who you think about, okay, you bought something on discount. You come back home and let your parents know. You want to tell them, this was the original price and I got it this many dollars less. See how human mind wants to compare it to the original price so they can understand how much you actually, availed as discount. So keep that in mind as you set up the proportions. You can always compare it to original amount so it makes sense to human brain. Okay, then how much was the change? Khatija, I see your hand is raised. Do you need help, Khatija?
No.
No. Perfect. This marks the end of the session. I'll be publishing recordings. Thank you so much for attending.
Bye.